Hey guys, so I got a little bit of feedback the last time I did just one of these quick uploads, so I might make this into a sort of semi-regular thing where I just talk about whatever. So if you guys have got any requests for stuff you wanted me to talk about, go right ahead and just leave them in the comments. So last video I got requests to talk about the Pixar films that I've not spoken about on the channel. Toy Story 4, Luke, I'm trying to flip and remember what the other two were. There were two more of them. Oh, Onward and Soul. So Toy Story 4. First of all, I don't really like the fact that that film even exists. I thought Toy Story 3 wrapped things up very nicely. It does tie up one loose end from the previous film, what happened to Bo Peep, because she's just mentioned in one line at the beginning, and then we never hear anything else about her. So it was kind of neat that they wrapped that up, but outside of that, I don't really like the fact that film even exists. I think it would have worked better really as kind of like a spin-off if they just had it be like the Bo Peep film, basically, you know, not even be called Toy Story. And, you know, you could have still had all those new characters that were introduced to in there. Just, you know, not Woody and Buzz and whoever, but, you know, the big businessmen or the big owners at Disney probably were like, no, it must be Toy Story, or it won't make enough money, or something like that. Yeah, it's a decent enough film. I just don't like the fact that Toy Story 3 is no longer the end of that story. Just kind of annoys me. But yeah, enjoyed a lot of the new characters. It's a rare occasion where I've actually really enjoyed a performance by Keanu Reeves. And I like the fact that Gabby kind of is introduced as a villain, but kind of becomes good by the end. I think that was kind of a nice sort of reversal of what you normally see, especially from Disney and Pixar, you know, with their surprise villains all the time. So a sort of surprise good person, almost, in a way. Didn't enjoy the bunny and the bear. Just, you know, obviously they're voiced by comedians. That's sort of quite popular in America. It didn't do it for me. I don't understand why they're attached, the hand or something. I thought they were going to explain that at some point, but they never do. The whole plush rush, I think they call it, that's been built up by a lot of critics as like one of the funniest things that Pixar have ever done or something. I don't know, it was just stupid, I thought. It went on far too long. But yeah, it's an okay film overall. So Onwards, I thought that was kind of a wasted opportunity, really. I thought they had the potential for a lot of good world building there, and it's just a standard sort of adventure kind of story. As that kind of story, it's fine. It's nice visually. It's good to just sort of explore that kind of world. It's an interesting enough sort of world. There's a little bit of world building, but it's all sort of introduced and then quickly is domesticated. I felt that kind of sort of ruined it. But I like the brother and the brotherly relationship. I actually think the ending is by far the best bit. The ending, which I won't spoil if you haven't seen it, but the relationship between the two brothers and what that ending means is really powerful, I thought. Also the fight at the end, I thought that was kind of a creative kind of monster. Soul, really interesting kind of concept, stunning visually, just a lot of real interesting sort of visuals they've got there. Outside of that, it's just kind of more of a sort of experience film. There's not a huge amount of story to it. I don't like the stuff that takes place on Earth. I thought that was all kind of very sort of standard kind of fish out of water sort of comedy sort of stuff. There's a lot of kind of interesting sort of character stuff in there. I don't quite understand why there's no sort of fail-safe system to, you know, this. I can't even remember the main character's name, but the fact that he doesn't want to die, I thought, oh well, there'll be some sort of system for people like this who actually aren't prepared to die. But no, apparently he's the first person who's ever sort of gone to the great beyond and not wanted to die. I find that very hard to believe. Also, the count, they just sort of say it doesn't matter at the end, really. It's built up as kind of like an important thing that's gone wrong, which is why the sort of bad guy is trying to stop him. And it's just sort of said, oh, it doesn't matter at the end. And they just send him back to Earth at the end. Oh, spoiler, I suppose, for anyone who hasn't seen it. I thought they just kind of just basically said at the end, oh, it doesn't matter. It seemed like kind of a cop-out to me. But yeah, decent enough film. Probably not quite as good as Onward, actually, I would say. I think I enjoyed Onward a little bit more. And Luca, which I just saw the other day, Again, kind of just sort of a fine film. I don't know, maybe Pixar's losing their touch a little bit. None of these four films are ones that really blew me away as sort of being really good. They were all just sort of perfectly fine, sort of decent sort of films. They all really excel visually. There's not much to them in terms of the story. I think Luca actually could have been a lot better if more had taken place under the water. You know, that sort of kind of like human world, but underwater. I thought that was a really interesting idea, and we don't have any scenes underwater after like the 40-minute mark. It all takes place in the human world, and that spoils it for me. Again, it's mostly a character sort of story. It's not so much about the world. It's more just about these two characters, Luca and Alberto, I think he was called. Possibly a film commissioned by the Italian Tourist Board as well. Even though, you know, it's animation, it's not. They're not actually filming in Italy or anything. But yeah, another stunning film visually, really like nice kind of experience just to look at and watch. But the story is sort of decent, I would say. Nothing like that really pushes the boundaries and seems amazingly original. So yeah, interesting. I sort of feel like that was the case with all four of those films. They're just sort of decent. If I want to give them like a ranking, I would say I probably enjoyed Onward the most, then Soul, then Luca, and then Toy Story 4. So yeah, anything else I want to talk about? Another interesting experience in the comment section the other day. Just really random video that I just happened to be watching of these marbles sort of rolling around, and they turn it into like a kind of sport. I think I actually did a reaction video to one of them once, and it was a more sort of complicated event, and somebody admitted in the comment section they didn't quite understand how the event worked, and I felt the same way when I was watching the video, so I just pointed out to them, well, if you consult the rules that appear in a little graphic at the bottom of the screen at the start, it should be fairly sort of self-explanatory once you've looked at that. And it became obvious to me, I don't know whether or not they just felt a bit humiliated that somebody explained things to them. They weren't actually looking for an explanation, they were just looking to moan. But they sort of came back to me and said, well, what if I don't want to do that? Well, if you don't want to do that, mate, I can't help you. It's like interesting, these people that come along with genuine problems and you try to help them out and they get more annoyed because they didn't actually want a solution to the problem, they just wanted to moan. So yeah, it's funny the people you find on the internet. In terms of what else I've been up to, I have started visiting a lot more people now. Just enjoying the fact that I can actually go about and hang out with people in public places now. Still have to wear masks most of the time. Have to sort of keep remembering that. But yeah, just really starting to enjoy quote-unquote normal life a little bit more now. Which is certainly a lot more fun. Not many TV shows coming out recently that really pique my interest, although I am enjoying Loki on Disney Plus. I think that's really good. That's probably the best of the MCU films that have come out this MCU shows that have come out this year. And I'm in two minds about whether or not I want to watch JXC's 5-hour video about Doctor Who. I've not started watching it yet. I just don't know if I want to commit myself to that. I'll leave a link in the description, you know, if you guys want to check it out for yourself. And then come back to me and say whether or not you think it's worth watching. You can let me know. And I think I am going to go back and start playing The Last of Us 2 again, because I really am in two minds now after a year after that's come out, whether or not I actually think that's a decent game or not. I think the large amount of criticism that game gets, it's a little bit unfair to me because all of the criticism is about the story. There's nothing really about the gameplay and the structure and the graphics and the controls or anything to that. And there are flaws with those things as well, but nobody seems to want to talk about those things. They all want to talk about just the story. And obviously story is important in a video game, but it's not the only aspect. It's a game first and a story second, I think, is the thing people are ignoring there. And I think I want to go back and I want to play it again and just see how I feel about it, you know, a year after it's come out, and I've taken in all the sort of feedback, which does seem to be sort of split right down the middle. And football fan me, I don't know if you can maybe tell, there's a little football thing just there. So I'm getting very excited about the Euros because we're in the quarterfinals now, and we are expected to win our quarterfinal. So now it's getting a little bit more nerve-wracking, I suppose, you know, because we're in the serious business end of things, and we're actually expected to do well suddenly. So suddenly you're like, oh god, now things get nerve-wracking. And there was one other thing. Oh, Rick and Morty. Yeah, I'm actually not enjoying. There's only 2 episodes we've had so far this season, but I'm actually not enjoying it quite as much. I feel like they've gone a little bit overboard with the sort of turning to the camera and saying, hey, you know, this is a TV show, we're just going to do whatever the heck we want, sort of thing. It's getting a little... It was kind of funny and kind of amusing at first when they started doing that kind of thing, but it's getting a little bit too self-aware now, I think. They are them just basically saying, we're going to do just whatever the hell we want and we don't care about you. That was kind of a neat idea at first, but it's starting to irritate me a little bit now. And it's starting to taint my enjoyment of the show, because I still think it's a good show, and that's starting to bug me in the back of my head, and it's annoying me. So yeah, that's about it. Yeah. So if you guys like me just rambling for 10 minutes in these videos every now and again, let me know in the comments, and I might post more of these.